Welcome back, focused learners, to another explainer. We're diving into Chapter 11 today, and honestly, I'm super excited about this one. We are going to unpack something we literally use every single day, yet rarely stop to think about from a pure business perspective. We're talking about the hidden economic engines behind our daily digital interactions. Because from the feeds we're scrolling, to the items we're bidding on, to the home pages we load up first thing in the morning, there is a massive, highly complex business architecture running right beneath our fingertips.
So here is the billion-dollar question, literally. How exactly do free online communities generate billions in revenue? It's kind of the ultimate digital paradox, right? We log on, we share, we message, we browse, and we pretty much never pull out our credit cards to do it. But make no mistake, while these platforms feel totally free, you are still paying. You're just paying with your attention, your behavioral data, and sometimes through hidden costs that are baked right into the system itself.
Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with social networks and business models, move to mechanics of online auctions, check out auction costs and fraud risks, and finally cover internet portals and revenue.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Social Networks and Business Models.
Before we talk money, we really need to define our terms. Fundamentally, an online social network involves four things: a group of people, shared social interaction, common ties, and sharing a specific digital area for a period of time. But what makes the online version such a total game changer is the complete removal of geographic limitations. Unlike the early days of the web, today's networks run heavily on user-generated content and many-to-many communication just to keep us all socially invested.
Now, what's really fascinating is that not all social networks are built the same, which means they don't all make money the same way. We have 5 main types. You've got general communities like Facebook or TikTok. Those rely heavily on massive audiences and advertising revenue. I mean, Meta just dominates ad revenue there. But then you have practice networks for professionals sharing knowledge and interest-based networks focused on specific hobbies. We also see affinity communities based on strong group identity and sponsored communities created by organizations. While the general communities are swimming in ad dollars, many of the others rely on subscriptions, premium features, or even donations to stay afloat.
Just to put that commercial integration into perspective, check out this stat. 98% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn to reach professionals. 98%. That brilliantly illustrates how these networks have expanded far beyond just teenagers sharing photos. They are absolutely fundamental tools for corporate marketing, branding, and what businesses call listening strategies, which is basically monitoring their brand reputation and talking to customers directly where they're already hanging out.
So the crucial question is, how do they keep you there long enough to show you those ads or corporate brands? 2 words: social algorithms. Simply put, algorithms are just step-by-step computer instructions designed to select and display relationship-based content that's highly personalized for you. From a pure business perspective, this is a wildly powerful profit-driving mechanic. The algorithm's entire job is to figure out exactly which of your friends' posts or news stories will be interesting enough to get you to click, keeping your eyes glued to the platform longer.
All right, Section 2, Mechanics of Online Auctions.
When most of us think of an online auction, we're thinking of the classic English auction. Think of the standard eBay model. You have a single item, a single seller, and a set time limit. Multiple buyers competing anonymously by raising their bids, and boom, the highest bidder wins. The huge thing you need to remember here is that this format is inherently seller-biased. Because multiple buyers are competing against one another, the whole structure is specifically designed to drive the price up.
But watch how we can totally flip that script with a reverse auction. Here, the buyer actually holds the power. The buyer specifies the exact fixed price they're willing to pay, and then multiple providers bid to accept that business at that price. Priceline made this famous for consumers with their Name Your Own Price tool. But today, it is a massive, massive component of business-to-business, or B2B e-commerce. It's a clever way for sellers to quietly unload excess inventory without publicly slashing their prices, effectively shielding their brand's value.
Now let's look at a much sneakier and potentially costly model, the penny or bidding fee auction. In this model, the auction site itself owns the item. But here is the catch. You have to pay the site just for the right to place a bid. Every time you click to bid, the price of the item might only go up by a single penny, but you might have just spent 50 cents or $1 just to make that click. So while the final winning price might look unbelievably low, the true cost is actually that final price plus the cumulative cost of all the bids you had to purchase just to stay in the game.
Which leads us to Section 3, Auction Costs and Fraud Risks.
Because while online auctions create highly liquid global markets, they also introduce very real dangers.
Let's contrast the pros and cons directly. The benefits are undeniable. You get massive liquidity connecting buyers and sellers all over the globe, and incredible price discovery for rare items. But the costs aren't always just monetary. There's delayed consumption, meaning you have to wait days for the auction to end and then wait for shipping. There are also huge monitoring costs, as you spend your valuable time constantly checking back on your bids. Convenience in the digital marketplace is rarely completely free.
And then there's the psychological cost. Auctions are social events, and let's face it, we consumers aren't always rational. This brings us to herd behavior. This is the crazy tendency for people to flock to an auction that already has bids on it, completely ignoring identical items that have no bids. We just follow the crowd, assuming the crowd knows something we don't. And that frequently leads to what economists call winner's regret. We end up paying way more than necessary simply because you got caught up in the heat of a bidding war.
Beyond human psychology, there is actual deliberate abuse. Online auctions have historically been a major hotspot for internet fraud. Check out this rogues gallery. You have bid rigging, where people secretly collude offline. You have shill bidding, which is absolutely infuriating. This is when a seller uses fake secondary accounts to artificially bid up the price of their own item. And bid siphoning, where a competitor messages your bidders and tries to steal them away with a cheaper offer. The asymmetry of information makes these platforms prime targets for bad actors.
So, if fraud is so prevalent, how do these platforms even survive? Simple. They have to heavily invest in rebuilding their most precious commodity, trust. They use public rating systems so you can evaluate a seller's past performance. They offer watch lists and proxy bidding, where you just enter your absolute maximum price and the software bids for you automatically, which significantly lowers the time you spend monitoring the site. And the biggest players even employ full-time dedicated investigation units just to weed out the scammers.
Let's wrap up with Section 4, Internet Portals and Revenue. Originally, portals were just simple search engines, a basic way to find things. But today, to be considered a true portal, they need 3 defining elements: navigation, which is search; proprietary content, like news, weather, and entertainment; and they need to serve as a starting point for commerce. They've basically evolved into digital megamalls. Their ultimate goal is to be what the industry calls a sticky destination site. They don't just want to help you find something else. They want you to stay right there on their platform for as long as humanly possible.
To keep you sticky, there are 2 main strategies. First, we have general-purpose portals like Yahoo or AOL, which try to cast the widest net possible to catch everyone. Second, we have vertical market portals, or VORTLs. Think of sites like WebMD or Bloomberg. These target highly focused, incredibly loyal audiences who share a very specific, deep interest.
Why do these 2 very different types exist? It's all about how they generate revenue. General advertising brings in money based purely on huge numbers of eyeballs. But those highly focused vertical portals, they can charge advertisers a massive premium. They use tenancy deals, locking in long-term exclusive placements for advertisers who are totally desperate to reach that specific niche audience. Adding commissions on sales and subscription fees for premium content, and you have a highly diversified digital revenue stream.
Which brings us right back to where we started, in the sprawling business of digital communities. Whether you are scrolling through a highly personalized social algorithm, trying to fight off herd behavior in a bidding war, or landing on a specialized internet portal, your attention, your behavioral data, and your trust are the ultimate commodities being traded. So, the next time you log on to a quote-unquote free service, I'll leave you with this question: who really holds the economic power in your daily digital footprint? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll see you next time.